Hello and welcome back to the RotoWire Esports Show. I'm Andrew Laird, joined as always by Ethan Sexton. Today, talk about Friday's 6-game round robin MSI slate. Apologies for taking a few days off. We had good reason for it, and it wasn't because the contests were so small and the round robin was going on, because obviously it didn't affect us for this Friday slate, which has small contests and still the round robin. But what's up, Ethan?
Yeah, I hurt my foot. So I broke my foot Saturday, coming down the steps to record this for Sunday's slate. So I blamed Andrew for it, but it really in reality wasn't his fault. So yeah, sorry for the couple days break there, but we're back. I got a setup, where I can navigate to now. So we're gonna be able to go forward at least until I get surgery on my foot, and then we'll see what things look like after that happens.
Well, I mean, obviously, as long as you have an internet connection, you could just do it while they're doing the surgery. I'm sure you could.
That's true. Just hopped up on some anesthesia or something. Can my advice get any worse? I mean, it's not. It might be worth the risk.
Yeah, no, we'll see. All right, jumping in. Let me get our little cheat sheet up here. Whoop. Sorry, still learning here. There we go. Yeah, no so we have a 6-game slate. Obviously, every team is going to play twice. Not everybody, so it's not a true round robin, but just within the teams that they are in. I tried to put this together to give us an idea of like the biggest favorites throughout the slate. So like obviously RNG is a favorite in both of theirs. Damwon and Mad Lions all are going to be favorites. Mad Lions, like I tried to do this cumulatively, are the biggest favorite. If you just kind of total up their win percentages. And they're also the most expensive, which is kind of unsurprising. So
yep.
We do have some like weird situations, like PSG is a huge favorite against Pentnet, but obviously underdogs against Damwon. So there's some like odd things to play around with there. But how do you think we should be going about this slate?
Well, I like that you did this spreadsheet with the cumulative win percentages, because obviously, we got to talk about, we're not just focusing in on teams having one game this time. We got to focus in on the strength of schedule as a whole on these
right.
On these slates. So, you look, like you said, Mad is the biggest cumulative favorite on the day, but the vast majority of them being the huge cumulative favorite is because they get that cushy matchup against Pentanet, right?
Yep.
So I think that these slates are going to be really pretty tricky and slightly annoying, because we don't get a lot of slates like these for League of Legends contests, right? This is the first year they've done this Rumble format at MSI, where teams are playing round robins again after the group stages. So I like that you put this together, because it gives a good visual of, where all the teams are at in both of their matchups. Whereas, looking at the DraftKings, just looking at the salaries, like, it only shows at the top, of course, across where all the games are, it shows who they play in both games. But, you might not realize it as cleanly as this lays it out. So, I mean, it's really tough. Like, we got to look at that strength of schedule. Where I started was not figuring out who I wanted to play, but who I didn't want to play. So
okay.
I chopped Pentanet straight off this slate. They have two pretty tough matchups. They're not going to have an easy matchup the rest of this tournament. It was kind of surprising that they even made it out of the groups. And I think I predicted them not to win a game in their group, so that obviously was wrong. But that's okay, But I think it is an extremely real possibility that they don't win a game in this Rumble format against these teams. So Pentanet's probably going to be a team we're never going to look to play.
Right.
I mean, Mad, as the biggest favorites, they get that awesome matchup against Pentanet, but then the C9 matchup is a pretty tough one, right? So, as you mentioned, they're not in every role, but in, I think, 4 out of the 5, they're the most expensive in the player roles. So is that great matchup against Pentanet enough to make us want to pay up for them? I think it could be, because the C9 matchup isn't an easy one, but it's not one that we look at and think that they're definitely going to lose or something like that.
Right.
So they get that cushy matchup. and then they get a difficult one, but one they could win. Whereas, we look at PSG, who you mentioned also play Pentanet, but then they have to play Damwon, and that is a game that, all things being equal, we would expect them to probably lose. I find this slate so interesting and difficult because, you get that first great matchup for PSG, and they're, $1,000 cheaper than Mad Lions, who are in a similar position. But the second matchup is so much worse that it's like, can we go there? It's very difficult. And then the other thing that I think is going to be tricky is RNG get, two teams that they can beat. That Damwon matchup is going to be interesting because RNG is just smashed.
Yeah, they have
absolutely destroyed Unicorns of Love and Pentanet, right? Like the numbers are ridiculous. They lead the tournament in kills by like 70, I think, somewhere around there, 67. So they just absolutely destroyed their group, but I'm not sure that their games going forward are going to look like that. So, it's difficult with RNG too. Like I think that RNG Damwon game could be lower kills, slower pace than what we've seen so far out of RNG. And then, they've definitely got a chance to win. And then they should beat Cloud9 in their second game, but do they score enough points in both those games to be worth their salaries? It's a lot to consider, man. It's tough for sure.
Do you think RNG should be underdogs against Damwon?
I think I wouldn't have any problem if they were. I think they deserve to be. I don't know. I think it's really like a 50-50, 51-49 type matchup. So I'm really I'm okay with how the odds are. I honestly think, I don't know. I think watching the group stages has sort of swayed my judgment a little because we watched RNG just run through teams, right? And, Damwon had a slip up or two and they didn't play in this explosive, exciting, crazy fashion like RNG did, right? So I think people are going to go to RNG because they've been so great in this tournament, but we need to remember how bad the teams were that they were up against in their group. I don't think that they can absolutely destroy a Damwon or, speaking specifically to tomorrow's slate, I think Damwon, I would favor Damwon to win personally. I honestly do think they're the better team, but I just think the matchup is so close that, it makes it kind of difficult to really come to a great decision. And then both of them have, they have what I would consider the toughest head-to-head matchup on the slate against each other.
Right. And
then they don't exactly have the easiest matchups, but it is two matchups that we would favor them to win in their second one. So, it's tough. Like, that's what I mean. Like, do we want to pay the salaries for RNG? I get why they're priced that way because they've outscored every team by a wide margin so far, but it just makes it kind of tough for our considerations going into the slate. Like, I think I would almost rather, if RNG are going to be the chalk, I think I would rather maybe not play Cloud9 that has to play RNG, but maybe I play Damwon, at a reduced price, hope they can beat RNG and then hope they score, 20 kills or so in their second matchup. Use that salary savings to get a better second team than I can get with RNG.
Yeah, I think if you just looked at the cumulative win percentage and didn't look at the matchups, I think you assume that just based on where they are cumulatively, that's how they are going to be owned. Like a lot of people will be like, oh, let me just play Mad Lions because they're going to, smash in their two games.
Right.
Or at least smash one and should win the other. And then you're like, I just pick between Damwon and RNG. But then once you realize that Damwon and RNG, one of them cannot sweep. And so that obviously makes you so not only can they not sweep, but we also kind of assume that game could be lower scoring just because I feel like it's more likely that Damwon slows it down like they do as opposed to just getting blown out. Either RNG gets blown out or Damwon gets blown out. I just don't see it happening. And I
agree. I agree. It's very hard to that matchup. It's very hard to see Wei taking over and just out jungling Canyon like he's done to the junglers in his groups where he snowballs the game insanely far. Or Xiao Hu has been so dominant in the top lane He's not going to be able to bully Khan that much. Like, I'm not saying these guys can't win their matchups, but it's not going to be this one-sided snowball that we've seen from RNG in the group stage.
Right. So if you just think that it's more likely that they each have one game that is low scoring, even win or lose, one's going to be low scoring. Is it possible? I mean, it's obviously possible, but I'm starting to wonder if it's worth taking the shot on PSG to just completely blow out Pentanet, and then stay close enough to Damwon. And like, we know that they're probably not scoring that well in that Damwon matchup, but you just have to think, does PSG, with the salary savings, is it worth playing the PSG loss to Damwon versus the RNG loss to Damwon? And I mean, the salaries are considerably different when you're comparing RNG and PSG. And so I'm wondering if maybe like Mad Lions PSG is the popular combo for people not playing Damwon and RNG.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome consideration and like a good way to think about it, because you get really nice salary savings from PSG, but we're going to expect them to go 1-1, and to your point, it's like the question is, can they score enough in that Pentanet game to make up for losing, expectedly losing to Damwon? I mean, I think that they can. It's really difficult for me to give like a set in stone answer because we don't get a lot of slates like this. Mm-hmm. So it's harder to really give a concrete answer right now, like what the best strategy is going to be. Like, if you have a team, like are any of these teams going to go 2-0 other than whoever wins the RNG Damwon game? It's really hard to envision, right? Like, a lot of these teams feel like they're going to go 1-1. So Mad
Lions could go undefeated.
Yeah, that's true. They definitely could. You're right. So, but if I forget what point I was going to make. I think it was going to be, if the majority of the teams are going to go 1-1, this is what it was. If the majority of the teams are going to go 1-1, why not take a shot with PSG, who get, at least their one win in theory is the cushiest matchup you could get in this Rumble stage. So why not just take a shot at them at a cheaper salary? Hope they completely blow up that Pentanet game, and then score at least like are competitive enough with Damwon where they get a couple points. Like maybe it's only like 10 or 12 or 15 because if they lose, but they did enough in their other game at a reduced salary that you compare them with another team who scores as well. So I don't mind that at all. Like. I think to your point that you mentioned, I think Mad Lions are a team that could go 2-0. You're exactly right, but they're the top of the pile in terms of salary. But can you pair Mad Lions and PSG together? Maybe that's not a bad way to look at things. Or if you don't think, I mean, it's really tough. I think PSG is almost like the lowest I would want to go, because I think Cloud9, like I could see Cloud9 beating both Mad and RNG, but I don't feel that comfortable about it, right? Yeah. So I think if you want to really go out on a limb and try to get some really low ownership, then Cloud9 is the lowest I would go, of course, because we're not playing Pentanet. I think, like, if you really want to differentiate, I think I would go with a Cloud9 and then play, one of the higher. I mean, it's so weird though, because you're not going to play them with Mad Lions, so I guess you would play them with Damwon if you're hoping that Damwon can 2-0 their games,
right?
And then C9 can pull off two upsets. And
it's basically just not game stacking,
right?
You're going Damwon, Cloud9, or Mad Lions,
PSG.
Yeah.
I think it's just it's tricky, man, because like I said, I'm kind of rambling and try to figure out what I want to do as we discuss, because we don't see slates like these where teams get two games that are counted. Like they used to do them. Like this would have used to have been like they would have lopped it off after the first three games and made two slates. But they're doing them as both. And, we don't have the history or the data of how these slates play out. So it's going to be kind of a learning experience for all of us.
I think on your point about Cloud9, like I think if they were one game slates, like not doing this, each team plays twice, I think we would make the argument that like Cloud9 could beat RNG Cloud9 could beat Mad Lions.
Yep.
But both on the same day seems really unlikely.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I mean, see, like, part of me, like, I think if I was gonna, I think I might take a shot on Cloud9, even though I don't think that they're gonna 2-0, and I'm not even sure they're gonna 1-1, right? But I think they're a worthy play because I think they're cheap, obviously, and I think they'll be low owned. I think people will come in with heavy RNG bias because we've seen them steamroll teams. But we have to remember as we're making our lineups, and RNG could come out and conceivably destroy Cloud9, and it wouldn't be a shock. But I do think we need to remember that they played probably two of the worst teams in this entire tournament.
Yep.
And that's why their numbers are so inflated. So I don't want to play into that bias too much. So I feel like Cloud9 are a good like leverage spot. If all you want to do is get leverage, I like that. I mean, they can score well. They're going to have to upset two teams, but it wouldn't be the most insane upsets. But I don't feel that that's the safe play, but I feel like that could be a good leverage option for tomorrow.
Yeah, I think you make the point that if Cloud9 beats RNG, that's probably higher scoring than PSG beating Damwon.
Yes, I agree.
So you just have to.
Yeah, I think they have more upside just in these matchups. To your point, like Damwon just don't give up a lot of kills normally. Like maybe once in a blue moon they will, but overall they slow the games down. They don't really try to fight early, and then they scale up to beat you late. But if they're doing that to you in the late game, you haven't done enough early to score enough points, right? So I agree with that entirely.
Yeah, Fred at Brion's not walking through that door.
That's right, man. They're not here, so we don't have to worry about them.
Yeah, I still think we're going to see a crazy amount of Mad Lions, and I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw like Mad PSG, but with some RNG or Damwon one-off somewhere, just to if you can fit them in, because
I was gonna bring up the possibility of one-offs. I think on slates like this, they're way more viable, don't you? I mean, because you can lose one game, but you can still win a game and score really well. So I think one-offs in this, like, that's what I was going to kind of posit at you as well, is like, do we even need to go for two team stacks? I think that's still probably the quote unquote optimal way to build lineups, but I don't know if we like have to do that on a slate like this where there's multiple games for each team. So I think I'm more open to doing one-offs as well, but it's the same as like any other slate where you need a lot to go right. But I feel like on a slate where teams are playing more than one game, you need a lot to go right anyway. So I don't know. I'm way more open to it than I would be normally, for sure.
Yeah, looking just at like the win odds, like PSG, the win odds for PSG over Pentinent is slightly higher than Damwon's over PSG, but you just have to think that PSG, in terms of just fantasy points, just blows Pentinent out. And when I say blow them out, like enough kills, like I could see Damwon beating PSG, 10-1.
Yeah.
But if PSG beats Pentinent, 17-5, like that's probably enough in that one game. And hopefully, maybe they lose to Damwon, 12-8 instead of 12-1.
Right. I agree with that, man. I think it's the Pentanet games we're gonna be highlighting a lot, right? Because I think those are the ones where these other teams can really show up and explode. Like, I know I doubted Pentanet already in this tournament, and they proved me wrong once. But I think like this stage, I think is gonna be just way too much for them. But who knows? I mean, these are best of one, so they probably squeak a game or two, right? Like that could definitely happen. It just doesn't. I'm never gonna play them though. I'll tell everybody that straight up. Like, I think there's 4 or 5 days of this Rumble stage. I won't be touching Pentanet.
Right. Like, let me see if I can pull this a little bigger here. So this is from our cheat sheet. Like, Pentanet, like, so few kills, so many you wonder how they're here.
Yeah.
that just like, this is why nobody's going to play him and why we're just going to target whoever they're playing.
Yeah, for sure. So
yeah, simple.
Yeah, they might as well not even exist except for to be a punching bag here.
Right. Which at least helps because we know at least who the punchers are.
Yep, helps us narrow down things.
Right. All right. If you guys have enjoyed the video, if you could please hit the like button below. Feel free to subscribe to all the RotoWire videos. We have a ton every day for every sport that you could think of. So feel free to check those out. If you would like to try out a RotoWire subscription where you can see this cheat sheet, as well as a ton of other stats for League of Legends and a number of other esports. Actually, if you're interested, CSGO, Call of Duty, all that stuff, we have them. So check those out. Just go to rotowire.com/try, TRY. Gets you 10 free days to the site, access to everything we have, as well as our subscriber Discord chat. So jump in. Ethan, thank you for that, and good luck on Friday.
All right, man. Same to you.
Try RotoWire today, free for 10 days. Get our premium tools, rankings, analysis, and breaking news alerts. No credit card required. Go to rotowire.com/try.